In this one, we are 4-betting light, folding sets, and getting coolered. You can't miss this one. Check it out. What's up, YouTube? We are on vlog number 3. I'm so excited. These past couple of weeks since I started have been amazing. The support that I get from you guys is unparalleled. I appreciate all the support, all the love, and all the suggestions that you guys have to make this channel better. We are actually almost at 500 subs. I know that's probably small potatoes compared to the big dogs, but for someone who's just starting, that's amazing. I just can't emphasize enough how much those likes and subscribes help out the channel. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit that bell notification so you get all the newest, latest, and greatest vlogs straight hot off the press. With that said, we are revisiting Bankers Casino in Salinas, California. We have a lot of hands to go through, so let's hit the film. This video was created for entertainment purposes only. By no means am I a professional poker player. The following video is not intended to teach nor train, but rather to provide a look into my journey. Please gamble at your own risk. Alright guys, this first hand is actually kind of a weird one. We have Queen Jack of Clubs on the button and it gets folded to us. We raise to 15 and the small blind makes it 75 to go. He is a thinking reg and definitely knows my range is wide on the button since I've been pretty active throughout the session. He has been 3-betting a decent amount, so he doesn't always have to show up with a huge hand here. We are about 950 effective, so we make the call. We go heads up to the flop of Ace 3-5. And he fires out $5. I mean, we can't just fold here, right? So we make the call. The turn is the 8 of hearts, and now he elects to bet $10. This is obviously weakness, and I think we made the mistake of not raising him here. I guess we also could have raised him on the flop. We seem to have seen him put in 2 weak bets and have done nothing about it. We make another stupid play and just call. The river is a blank. It's the 9 of spades. Now he bets $20 and we just fold. I don't know why we didn't make a move on any of the streets, but he shows his cards and he has 2 kings. We probably could have taken it away from him. This was just a bad play by us. Now we have ace king off in the hijack. It gets folded to us and we raise to 25. There are 2 callers and the small blind makes it 125 to go. He's a pretty active player and loves to get involved in pots. He has about 380 behind. We do have blockers to aces and kings. It also is 6-handed. And it's just kind of nitty to fold here. So it's a perfect squeeze pot for him as well, since there are 2 players in between us that called the 25. So that's just dead money to him. It gets folded to us and we ship it in. It gets folded to him and he basically snap calls. He says, "You're good," and the board runs out 5-9 deuce, 8-6, and he shows 2 jacks. We're definitely not good. We lose this one. We are in the big blind and look down at 2 kings. It's a straddled pot. Under the gun calls. Cutoff makes it 45 with about 200 behind, and we re-raise to 144. And once it gets back to him, he sends the rest of his chips into the middle of the pot. We insta-call and the board runs out jack 6, 7, jack 10. He shows ace queen off and we table the winning hand. Side note, before the board runs out, the player who beat me in the hand previously with jack jack against my ace king told the guy with ace queen, "You're good," as he sees his hand. I obviously don't have the best table image right now. In this hand, we have Queen Jack off in the big blind. The hijack makes it 20, small blind calls, and we call. We go 3 ways to the flop of Jack 8, 7. It gets checked through on the flop, and the turn brings the King of Hearts. Once again, it gets checked through. The river is now the 6 of diamonds. So now we feel like we have the best hand. Let's get some value here. So we place a bet of 20 and only the PFR calls us. We show and we win. Now, the reason I chose to put this hand in the vlog was to show the importance of value betting. These are spots where, a lot of people will just check to maybe pick off a bet or just get to showdown. Just be aware that if you do try to get value like this, maybe 5 times, in the session, that's an extra $100 or 20 big blinds in whatever game you're in, which will add up quickly and definitely raise your hourly. All right, so now we get into a tricky one. We have pocket fours on the button. Under the gun makes it 20. Hijack calls, we call, small blind, and big blind call. So we go 5 ways to the flop of ace 4 6. We just flopped bottom set, but it's on a monotone board, all spades. So this is kind of a good flop and a bad flop for us. It gets checked to the PFR and he fires out a bet of 60. Now, this is a pretty big bet. It's 3/5 pot, OOP, but, we have bottom set, so we're probably not going anywhere here. So we call to see if we can fill up on the turn, but the big blind does not want us to do that. He wants to charge us a different amount, so he min clicks to 120 to go. This shows a lot of strength. I mean, he's really not protecting his hand against anything, which means that he probably has the nuts at this point, but who knows? But we are still willing to call an extra 60 to see if we compare the board. I think this is a mistake by him, if he has a big hand like we think. Well, the PFR does not want that to happen. He commits all of his chips, which is just a couple hundred more, but now it's hard for us to even make the call here, because the big blind probably has a huge hand that he will overship with, even if we just flat the 3-bet shove by under the gun. So we tank for a bit and eventually figure that we need to make the fold. I mean, we don't beat any flushes and we lose to all bigger sets. These two guys are representing big hands. Well, the big blind calls and shows king jack of spades, which is the nuts. The PFR shows queen 10 of spades, which is the second nuts. This is such a sick setup hand. It's such a cooler. The crazy part about this is that if we were to have called, the board runs out 2 of spades and then the 6 of clubs. We fill up and we would have won a big pot. But hindsight is always 20/20. You cannot be results oriented. Make sure you're always trying to make the correct play. All right, guys, so after this hand, we take a little bit of a break from the felt to get something to eat. I want you to know that if you ever go to Bankers, make sure you get their tacos. If you like seafood, I heard that they have the best shrimp tacos in the area. You don't want to miss it. I, myself, ordered carne asada, some chicken, some carnitas. I want to do something different for you guys. So I am going to do a mystery hand. In this hand, I'm going to keep my hand concealed. We're going to go through the progressions pre-flop, flop, turn, and river. And in the next video, I will release the information about my 2 cards. Now, if you have a guess, make sure you drop it in the comments below. Let's see who gets the closest to my hand. So in this mystery hand, we are 6-handed in the small blind. There are 2 limpers, and we make it 40 to go. There's only 1 caller, so we go heads up to a flop of 8-7-6, all clubs. This is a pretty dynamic board. We check, and he checks. The turn is now the 4 spades, and we place a bet of $25. He quickly makes the call. The river is the 7 of spades. We bet 40, and he folds. Now, this pot isn't super huge, but with the actions, I want to see if you guys can figure out what we have at this point. Leave your guesses below in the comment box. In this next hand, we are in the cutoff with what I like to call 2 red. Anytime I refer to my cards with just colors, it means I have aces, and all I'm doing is naming the colors associated with those absolutely beautiful cards. So it gets folded to us, and we make it 20 to go. Only the button calls. So we are going heads up to the flop of king, queen, queen, rainbow. We check here for pot control because we're OOP, and this board favors his range against our exact holding. He checks behind. The turn is the jack of spades. Now, let's try and get some money in there. We fire 25, and He makes the call. The river is the 4 of spades. Now, we could either check or bet here for a couple of reasons. The bet would be to get value out of all kings and jacks. We could check to bait a river bluff if he wants to turn his jack into a bluff or a missed straight draw with a 10. Hard to say what he will call with here, so we choose to check. He checks back and we show the winner. So now we are 5-handed in the big blind with a hand I like to call smoke. I call ace-queen smoke because when there's a lot of smoke in the air, you check the AQI. And ace-queen is also known as AQ. Also, when we have this hand and people enter the pot, we want all the smoke, so let's get it. Cutoff, which is a thinking reg, raises to 15, small blind calls. Now we place a 3-bet to 75. Only the cutoff calls, and we go heads up to the flop of 3-4-5 with 2 spades. We continue our story and fire out 95. He puts in the fold. This board favors our range since we have all the big pocket pairs and nutted aces. He is not likely to have hit this low board after being the opening raiser. He could possibly have middling pairs, but at that point, this is what we're going to find out with our bet. 5-handed on the button with Jack 9 of diamonds. Under the gun limps and we make it 20 to go. Small blind, big blind, and the limper call. 4 ways to an amazing flop of King 10-5, all diamonds. We just flopped the flush. Let's go. Checks to us and we bet 45 to charge all kings and ace or queen high flush draws. The small blind check raises us to 150. Now, I mean, this is kind of concerning, but we flopped big. He has about 230 behind. It gets folded to us and we can ship it here, or we can flat to try to fade a diamond and to keep all of his bluffs in, because we're not folding anyways. We chose to flat. So now the turn is the jack of clubs. Before we can even have our action, he opens ships and we snap call. The river is a blank and he shows queen 8 of diamonds. Wow, what a cooler. I guess there was just no way of us avoiding this post flop, but you know, it's just one of those hands. Oh well. We are back to 6-handed now, and we pick up ace-jack of spades on the button. Hijack limps, and we raise to 20. Both the big blind and the hijack call, so we are going 3 ways to the flop of ace-10-3 with 2 clubs. Big blind checks, and the hijack bets 20 into us. Not sure why he's donk leading. What can he be doing with this type of bet? Maybe he has some sort of flush draw that he wants to get a cheap turn with. Not too sure. So we choose to flat and reassess the situation later. The big blind calls as well. The turn is the queen of hearts. Now it gets checked to us. We probably have the best hand at this point, so let's get some money in. We fire out a bet of 75. There are a decent amount of draws, including a gut shot Broadway, a front door, and a backdoor flush draw. Only the hijack calls. Now the river brings the 7 of hearts. So it does bring in the BDFD. He checks, and we just check back here because there's not much that can call us. And he has about 300 in front of him. If we try to value bet the river, he's exactly the type of opponent that can push us off our hand with a check jam. We show and we are good. All right, so the last notable hand of the night. We are in the small blind with ace king of clubs in a straddled pot. There is 1 limper in front of us and we make it 60 to go. Both the straddler and the limper call. We're going 3 ways to the flop, which is ace 9-3 with 2 spades. We lead out for 110. The straddler folds and the limper quickly calls. The turn is the 8 of hearts. This is a safe card. Doesn't bring any straights. We are about a 415 effective. This is a little bit of an overbet, but we pile it in because this specific opponent has been sticky the whole session. He's been calling very light, and we want to get a lot of the money in now. Just in case he has a draw, don't want him folding a river. So he thinks about it for a second, and, well, just like we thought, he puts in the call. The 7 of spades rolls off on the river. The flush gets there, but with his line of action, we feel good about our hand. We table, and we are good. Well, that's it for vlog number 3. It's in the books. I hope you guys like this one. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate all of the support and love that you guys have been giving. Make sure to like, subscribe, turn on those notifications if you can. I know it's getting into the holiday season. I still have a lot of videos that are backed up that I need to edit. So my gift to you guys is going to be a lot more videos. So until next time, just remember, don't be stuck like a duck. Run like Usain Bolt. Peace.